how much of an impact is this going to have on Pacquiao's preparation, and what do you give Ugas in with regards to his chances against Pacquiao with a last minute fight, last minute to prepare for this type of fight?
Well, first of all, the first thing that should be understood to the audience is Ugas is not a last-minute replacement in a way that he's not prepared as far as conditioning and training for a fight, because he was on the undercard. He's got the belt. He's got the title. The funny thing, the interesting thing about this is that it's the WBO, right? I just want to make sure that I'm correct.
I believe so. Hang on, let me confirm.
Yeah. He's got the WBO. Well, you look for that. I'll just go on. He's got the WBO title, and he'll be defending that title now against Pacquiao. And like I said, he's not stepping in a way where it's a last-minute replacement where he didn't have time to prepare. He's been in a full training camp because he was defending his title on the card. He was fighting on the undercard of this show. So he's a guy who's ready. He's in shape. It's WBO, right, Ken? He's ready.
It says the WBA.
So, he's got the belt. Here's the ironic part of it, because we try to bring everything to the fans. He's got the belt that was taken away from Pacquiao, that Pacquiao earned in the ring. He's got the belt that Pacquiao had in the ring. Now, the reasoning, the excuse that the I guess it's WBA, right? Definitely WBA. Yeah. The reasoning that the WBA used to take that belt away from him was that he was inactive. Now, everybody was inactive with COVID and everything else going on, but that Pacquiao was inactive, so they took the belt away and they gave the interim belt. They let Ugas fight for the interim belt, and Ugas won the interim belt. Here's, of course, what they forget to tell you was that they didn't use the same sort of standard for Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman years earlier, he had been inactive 2.5 years, and they didn't strip him and give an interim title, but yet they stripped Pacquiao. And they allowed Ugas, of course, to wind up getting this interim title. But why did they strip Pacquiao and not strip Thurman? Because Thurman was more in line with being buddies with them, being friendly with them. Pacquiao's the kind of guy that, he's not always friendly with everyone in that way. He's a great guy. He helps the Filipino people. He's one of the greatest humanitarians you're ever going to meet. He gives most of his money away to the great Filipino people. He helps those people. He's a congressman over there. He helps them that way too. I mean, this is a special man. This is a selfless man that does things that very few people do. Besides what he does in the ring. I'm talking about what he does outside the ring. But, he doesn't always care about, an organization getting their blood-sucking fees and sanctioning fees that they get them. He doesn't care so much about belts. But if the fight is close, you wonder if Ugas is going to be favored. A lot of people say, oh, no, not over Pacquiao, because first of all, Pacquiao, follow the money. Pacquiao can make more money than Ugas. When Pacquiao fights, they get a bigger sanctioning fee because Pacquiao will be demanding more money. Yes, true. But you're not going to get, 0 from 0, last I checked, still amounted to 0. So you're not going to get a bigger sanctioning fee from Pacquiao if he leaves you and he goes and fights Spence. Because that's going to be the next. If Pacquiao wins this fight, that's what's going to be next. He's going to go and he's going to, God willing, Spence heals up with his detached retina and he's ready to go. He's going to follow that and he's going to go and wind up making that fight most likely. And if that happens, Pacquiao could care less about their belt. He's going to go fight for Spence's belt. So in that way, you have to be aware that the WBA or WBO, but it is the WBA, right, Ken? It's the
and for the record, it was the Super WBA welterweight title. They got so many friggin' belts, the regular, the super. They're calling the belt the super belt.
No, I get it. They got it the regular, the unregular, irregular, the silver, the bronze, the
pearl.
The pearl, the tin paper, the aluminum foil. Oh, God. I mean, there's just, there's so many. It's unbelievable. So they don't be surprised then if it's a close fight, if they say, wait a minute, we're going to favor Ugas, a guy who we know is going to stay with us, where Pacquiao is going to be leaving us, and we're not going to get any sanction and fees from him. So let's keep our champion that we do have control over. So that's something that could be an X factor that has to be thought about a little bit, especially by you my bookie people out there that are part of the great my bookie, and that you do some gambling with my bookie, because that is something that has to be thought about. I'm sure my man Bill Krakenberger, the great handicapper in Vegas, I'm sure he's thinking about that. So having said that, as far as the breakdown of the styles, because styles make fights. Never forget that. Styles do make fights. Oh, this guy beat this guy, so he should beat. No, it don't work that way. Oh, this guy's big, he's this, that, and he beat this guy, and this guy lost to this guy, so he should beat. No, styles make fights. Ugas is a completely different style from Spence. Spence is an aggressive, big welterweight who uses a great southpaw jab, and he comes forward. He also boxes, but he comes forward a lot, and he goes to the body real good. Ugas goes to the body pretty damn good, but not as consistently as Spence. And Ugas is not a southpaw, so Manny's been training for a southpaw, so there is some adjustment there that he's got to now be ready for an orthodox fighter. But that shouldn't be hard for Manny, because Manny is a southpaw and he usually fights orthodox fighters. He fought 1 million of them. So that shouldn't be a big adjustment for him. And as I said, Ugas is ready. He's in shape because he was on the undercard getting ready. So it's not like he's being thrown in there on a moment's notice with no conditioning. They're different styles, where Spence is a busy guy and an aggressive guy for the most part. Ugas is a counterpuncher. He's a counterpuncher. He's not a busy guy. I thought he technically won the Porter fight, but he got out-hustled. He got outworked a little bit. I still thought he won. He landed the cleaner punches, but he didn't get credit for them because he wasn't busy enough. He allowed the opening to get robbed, to get out-hustled, to be outworked. And Porter, to his credit, with his jab, did that, at least in a way that the judges thought he did. So Ugas is the kind of guy you can out-hustle, you can outwork him. Where you have to be careful is walking straight in or getting caught coming in, because he's a decent counterpuncher. And like I said, he's a pretty good body puncher. But he's not a guy who's going to put up big punch numbers. He's not a guy that's going to tear it up in that way, who's going to press you, who's going to be always on you. I think it's an easier fight for Pacquiao. Hopefully mentally he doesn't, guy his experience shouldn't, but mentally he doesn't have a little downer, if you will, going from Spence to Ugas. Ugas is a good, solid fighter. He's a bronze medalist from that great Cuban Olympic team. He's a bronze medalist. But even saying that, when you're on that Cuban Olympic team, that great national Cuban Olympic team, if you're not a gold medalist, in their eyes, you didn't win. You lost. I know bronze medal is a great accomplishment, and it is. But if you come from that Cuban team, it's not. It's gold or nothing. So he didn't win the gold, but he's a real good, solid fighter. He's a guy that, as I said, he's going to look for you to make mistakes. He's going to look to take advantage of your aggression. He's going to look to time Manny coming in. He's going to look for moments to go to the body if Manny stands in front, or maybe catch Manny with lead right hands. Right hands are southpaw killers. As Mayweather proved against Pacquiao, that you can use that lead right hand if you know how to use it the right way. If Manny stands in front of him, he'll look to use the right hand, lead. If Manny comes in a little reckless, he'll look to counter him. His hands are not real fast, Ugas' hands. They're not slow, but they're not real fast. Manny's hands are real fast. We understand that some of the fastest hands, maybe in the history of the sport. I mean, that's how fast his hands are. I like, again, it's an easier fight, I think, on paper for Manny. And listen, Teddy Atlas ain't telling you nothing when he tells you, when you're going from Spence to anybody else, it's going to be an easier fight for the most part. So I'm not telling you any secrets there. But it is an easier fight, should be, from a technical standpoint on paper. But you never know, because you're not fighting paper. There's human beings getting in there. You're talking about emotions. You're talking about the mental state. You're talking about all of that. And I don't know if there's a little letdown for Manny, as I said. But at the end of the day, my pick is going to be Manny by what should be a unanimous decision that's going to turn into a split decision because there's some chicanery by the DW. Because chicanery with one of these? Are you kidding, Teddy? Oh, no. Come on. Really? Chicanery when... Real? Oh, are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. There can be some monkey.
Too bad the WBA wasted their shot on the Maestre fight. They had a chance to rob the great Manny Pacquiao. Now everyone's going to be watching them, so they're probably like, oh, damn, everyone's watching this time. We got to be careful.
Yeah, you know what? I have an old saying that was given to me by the great Customato, my guy, my mentor. People born round don't die square. So don't worry. These guys are crooks. They still think like crooks. They still behave crooks. They still behave like crooks. They still act like crooks if they can. If they can. You bring up a good point. But if they can, they still behave that way. They can't help it. That's what they are. And but we'll see. I'm going to say Manny by unanimous decision. But if there's some bad play there by the WBA, something, a foul, then I'm going to say it turns into a split decision. Then it turns into a split. They're like magicians, like instead of pulling a rabbit out of the hat, they pull a crooked decision out of the hat. But they're magicians. They're magicians. They go press right in front of you. Here we got. Watch this trick. I have a unanimous decision in my hands. And I will say abracadabra, presto, and make it into a split decision. That is my magic trick for tonight. So that you got to be careful. They're very good at that magic. And that's my feeling about the fight. That Manny, here's the one thing I got to throw in there as a qualifier. The one thing I got to throw in there. I think Manny should be too fast, too busy, too smart, too good, and he'll win a unanimous decision. He'll out-hustle, he'll outwork a real solid fighter in Ugas. Except, you ready? Except, unless Manny becomes old on that night.
Well, if you'd like to vote with your dollars, you can check out MyBookie. Go to mybookie.ag. Use the promo code ATLAS, ATLAS, for 100% credit on your first deposit up to $1,000. 50% credit up to $1,000. The line right now is minus 355 on Pacquiao, plus 285 on Ugas. To your point, at some point, Manny's going to get old. I just don't know that plus 285 is enough to vote on or to vote with your dollars on Ugas.
Not for me, it's not. For me, to go against a great Manny Pacquiao and you're getting back 280, 285, whatever it is, it's not enough for me. Not for me.
I tend to agree with you.